Hey everybody, it's Strict9 with Strict9 GP, and welcome back to another episode of my Draft Day Sports College Basketball 2020 playthrough. Into this first season with the Penn State Nittany Lions, 21 games into the season, we're not doing too bad. We're holding our own. We're playing better, I think, than this team was last year before I took over. We're 11-10. Still got the goal of making it to 15 wins. That's looking dicey because we got 8 games left to play, so we would have to finish 500, and I think most of those games are going to be on the road. Nope, it's 4 at home, 4 away, but some tough games, tough matchups. But what I'm hoping to do is get through most, if not the rest of the season, simming through it, and find out how we finish. Before I do that, though, I'm going to go over a couple things, look at the team, look at some things I've noticed with the play here, and some other things that you'll see as you're playing out this game. But first thing I want to do is talk about a big development in recruiting. And if you followed this series so far with the Penn State team, you'll know that I put quite a bit of effort into recruiting this year, but we've only got one slot open for scholarships, and I really feel like it's no real surprise that center is where we're struggling. We've got one true recruit and a walk-on, and I've been going primarily with this sophomore who is on scholarship. He's got some potential. He's played really better as the season's gone on, so it might be that he's starting to see some, even though it's not showing in the game yet. It shouldn't probably update until the off season and going into next year. It's possible he might be developing a little bit because he's playing a lot better. Still not, he's getting starter minutes and his numbers aren't that great, but with 2 plus seasons left with his team, I mean, he could develop into a decent starter, but that's the weakest part of this team, and so that's where I've been going in recruiting. And so I went with a recruit, I think it was out of Maryland, or Rhode Island, who was a 3-star when I recruited him. I thought, this guy's going to be pretty good. I think he's of all the ones that I looked at, I liked his size, everything about him, and I was pretty happy with just as soon as Penn State was his number one team, I sent him a scholarship, and he accepted, signed, agreed, did the verbal. So I lost the ability to give that scholarship to someone else, and as the season went on, his ratings tanked, and he became, I think, maybe he was top 10 or so in the regional position. He's now 51. Regional overall, he's not too good. National overall, he's out of the top 1,000. So he went from being a 3-star recruit to a 1-star recruit. And I really realized, well, I've screwed up. The only thing I can hope for is that he's going to develop next year and maybe turn into a good player. Well, as luck would have it, one of the things I did not pay attention to is his SAT score, which has to be, for Penn State, I believe it's 900 or above. And so, to give you an idea of what the notification is going to look like, so I got notice from the athletic director that he did not make the minimum score to be offered a scholarship with Penn State, so the scholarship was revoked. That freed up the scholarship. And then I could go back and look at some of these centers who are now better recruits and see if I can get somebody else interested. And that left 2, really. Johnny Parks, a 3-star, and Brett Ull. Now, Brett Ull is probably the better rated center of all the recruits I've got interested in Penn State. But he's got the same issues. His GPA is low. He's right on the border with the SAT score. I think 900 or above is the limit, or if not, It may even have to be higher than that. And he's currently, we're only second in his top 10 schools. So even though he might be the better player overall, he's not going to be by much. And Johnny Parks, however, was rated, okay, he's ninth in the region at center. And this is, I guess by my scouting reports, as opposed to All, who is seventh. So they're close, not too far apart. He has a little bit of a size advantage. Probably not going to be as good defensively right now as a freshman recruit, but still should be pretty good. He's having a decent season, it looks like, center senior season so far, if it's not over by now. We're into February, but being that he was already liking us as his top school, and then you look at his GPA and SAT scores, they're well above, I think, the qualifications, the minimum we need. I decided to offer him a scholarship. He accepted. So now I have a 3-star recruit again at center. So I'm really happy with that. I did mess up, so the game kind of saved me on that. But, I made the warning earlier. You probably don't want to offer those scholarships too early if you're a big school in a big conference like Penn State. You may want to ride it a little bit, but another warning is you want to make sure you're checking things like academics, because especially if you're at a school that's, a little bit tougher to get into, because then that's going to bite you. And so made some mistakes, but I think it's going to come out in my favor. I'm hoping so anyway. I mean, this guy nationally is the 37th rated center. I think as we build this program, we're probably going to be able to get even better recruits, but I'm happy with that. So that's first thing I wanted to go over. In terms of the team playing this season, I think I left it maybe a few games into the season where we started out really good. Won our first 3 games in the conference. One of those was against Indiana, who are now ranked 17th. We've just been all over the place. So you look at that big win against Indiana, the big overtime win against Maryland to start out the season. We've lost against some teams that we should have lost against. We've played pretty poorly on the road. Illinois beat us really badly, and they're a team that we're, at least from the standings perspective, we're rated about the same. We just had a big win, though, against Wisconsin at home. They came into that game 10th, I believe, and we won 73-68. But then we go back to the next game on the road against Nebraska, who's one of the weaker teams in the conference, and lose. So we're not where we need to be. I haven't changed too much with the depth charts, because I still think I've got the players in the positions that they need to be and in the depth charts where they need to be. But I think it's some of it is probably newness to maybe my strategies and newness in general. I mean, we've got some sophomores that are getting a pretty good amount of play time here, so especially at center, right? So this is just maybe, the tough breaks you're going to have taking over a team like this. But when I look at that schedule going forward, it's going to be really tough, I think, to finish with 15 wins in the regular season. But that's the goal. In terms of the attitudes and things like that, we have seen a few attitude problems, mainly with this guy, not David, A.D. Lee. This guy has been giving us problems all year. He's a small forward. He's got good potential, but I'm going with J.J. Douglas. No, it's not Douglas. I'm going with Robinson. They're both sophomores, but Robinson is just a little bit further developed right now. And there's been a lot of back and forth between these two, between Lee and Robinson, and it's led to some attitude problems that I've had to address. And unfortunately, Robinson, who's the guy I really want starting, it's affected, I think, his relationship with the coach and with the team a little bit. And then I reprimanded Lee, which is one of the choices you have, and it hasn't seemed to hurt him too bad. So I don't know how that's going to impact the rest of the season, because Robinson's really upset now with the things that are going on. And then Bo Morris, also not in a very good relationship with me, but he hasn't had a great season either. He's a senior, rated probably the best of all of our starters, but he's at that power forward position, and getting some good rebounds out of him, maybe some good defensive play, not a lot of scoring. If you look at the game logs from him, he's been up and down in conference, but I tell you, he's had more bad games in conference than good, in my opinion. Seeing a lot of negatives there in the plus minus. He's probably not going to be a big loss, but backing him up, Jones, a freshman, great potential. He wants to get some playing time. He's getting around 10, 11 minutes a game. He's just not going to get it this year. And his relationship with the coach is really, really bad. So it could be a situation where I had it happen with Austin P in the previous team I was coaching. This guy might get away from me. He might transfer out. He's good enough that his potential is good enough that he could very well do that. So I am going to try and address that in the depth chart before we get simming the rest of the games. It may cost us a little bit down the stretch, but I'm going to give Jones more play time. He's already up to 14 minutes. I'm going to put him in. I think if I've got, in terms of where I've got time to play him, I think maybe it doesn't make a whole lot of sense, maybe, but I'm going to put him in here at the. He's already started 6 minutes there. What I can do is kind of give him an extra couple minutes there and see if that, even though it's late in the game, maybe that'll be enough to so he can get in there. Bo Morris is injured as far as that goes, so it may not be that big of a deal. But other than that, I'm not gonna tamper too much with the depth chart right now, unless these injuries, we have a couple injuries, unless they get to be a problem where these guys have to sit. Morris, 85% right now. Bailey, 85%. So I'll play it by ear the rest of the season. Looking at the stats, a couple big key stats here. If we look at scoring, D'Elia, who I have as the shooting guard, even though Pepper, both those guys are juniors and probably equally good at shooting guard right now. Well, D'Elia might be a little bit better potential. He's leading us with scoring, and this has more to do, I think, with the kind of offenses I'm running than anything else, than ability. And then you got Robinson, sophomore, small forward. I really want to keep him happy as well. He reminds me of Jepson that I had at Austin P. He's able to score, but he's also got some pretty good defensive and rebounding ability. I want to keep him happy as well. And then Pepper has been, to me, the big surprise, having to play a little bit out of position at point guard. He's given us 5.5 assists, just under 10 points a game. So I'm okay with that. Sandin, looking at him, I mean, this is pretty much the starting lineup, these first five, so that's where I'm getting my points. I said that Sandin has been playing better. From a scoring perspective, he has, and not really the rebounding has been pretty good too at times. 5, 4, 5, 3. But if you look at his point totals in the last three games, 10, 12, 19 against Nebraska, even though we lost, I'm hoping that's going to mean that he's starting to develop, like I was saying earlier. One of the good things about him, he's a good inside shooter, and he's got good scoring potential. I just wish his defense would pick up a little bit. Shot blocking, average. Stealing, a little bit above average. Rebounding, average. And this is potential I'm talking about here, not actual. So hopefully he will show some ratings progression into next season. But otherwise, it's been an okay first season. I still think with some good recruiting 2-3 years down the line, I think we can build something good here. But I'm going to go ahead and get started, try to get through as much of the rest of the season as we can. We should be set to go. Well, we're not set to go. So I thought we were going to be playing a game today, but not. Didn't look like it. So we'll go ahead and sim up to our next game. Sims take just a little bit of time, unfortunately, to get through. I could try to sim week. Let's see if we can do that and see if that speeds it up. It's going to be a longer sim time, but should get us through the full week. So we should have 2 games this week. I should have checked who we were playing, but I'm hoping that we... Okay, so we got Michigan. Oh, my gosh. So we're going to have to sim this one. Not thinking this is going to go too well. I think the scouting... Whoa, we won. We're 12-10. But Odell looks like he's a backup point guard now. He suffered an injury. Let's take a look at the game. Man, that's a big win. This is what I'm talking about. We have some surprising wins in this season, and this is one of those on the road I didn't think we would win. So this might really help us get that 15 win season. And look, Pepper, great game, 19 points, 5 assists. He's still a little high on the turnovers, but I really like this guy at point guard. Even though we have that transfer coming in next year, if Pepper develops a little bit ratings-wise, I think he's just a 2.5 star. Yeah, potential. I mean, this guy, I got to find a place for him, I think. Sandin, once again, 8 points and very little in terms of defense. Morris, not his best game. Douglas off the bench looked really good. He's another guy with some decent potential, but he's a senior. And then how did Jennings... Man, not Jennings. Sorry. Not Clark. I'm looking for the power forward. It must be Jones. Yeah, Jones. He got 16 minutes and just didn't do a whole lot while he was out there. So not a great game for him, but for the team, good shooting, over 50%, 61% in three-pointers. That's definitely going to be the difference. Pepper, the player of the game. But I'm going to have to check though. It looks like Odell injured in that game. Let me see how he's looking. $15 days, but 85%. Right now in the depth chart, I think he's getting 12 minutes. I'm gonna let that go for right now. I don't really have a whole lot of options at point guard, so just hope that he doesn't have a season-ending injury. So let's go back to simming. I'll just sim the day out here. We should have another game coming up. That was a huge win, though. I mean, we have been sporadic. I mean, we down the stretch, we could lose every game we're supposed to win. That's easy to see happening. But today we got Minnesota. Minnesota 12-10, same record as us, but they're a little bit better in the Big Ten. I don't really expect us to win, except for the fact that we're home might help us out. No, and that's what I'm talking about. We have a big victory on the road against Michigan, and then come back and lose at home against the team that we should be matched pretty closely against. So that's going to leave us still just a game above 500, 12-11 record. I'm going to take a look at this, how the game went down. 68-57, so low scoring game from us. Morris held to just 1 point. This guy, he's getting a little bit better. He was at 85%, now 92. He's one of those guys. It's probably good that he's a senior. Robinson looked pretty decent scoring wise. Pepper really handled in this one, and Odell, being injured, had to play way too much time, really, than he needed to. Lee looked good off the bench. Jones had a little bit of a better performance here, but 7 rebounds, 5 points, not too bad. So now this may take us. Yeah, we're probably going to go into next week now, and I'll take a look at the standings and the polls. Just to give you an idea of how the rest of the league's doing. And we may even check in on Austin Peay just to see what kind of season they have. Last I looked, they were struggling, and it might be that recruiting class I gave them wasn't as good. But we'll take a look at it. All right, so some inbox here. Probably going to be, if I'm not mistaken, just some more scouting reports. Indiana, I don't foresee us having a chance against them. And then same with Rutgers. Rutgers having one of the better. No, Rutgers is struggling, but they're still giving them the advantage here at center and bench. But I think record-wise, they're really struggling. Do we have any? Obviously, we don't. But just take a look at the standings. So right now we got Michigan State, ranked 3 in the country. They're having a great season. Indiana, Purdue, Maryland back in the 25. They were struggling a little bit there. Wisconsin, and Minnesota, 8-4 in the conference, but had some tough losses outside the conference. And then you see us right in the middle, probably leading the way of the bottom teams. We're 6-8. Michigan really struggling. Illinois, Ohio State, but Rutgers, they're down there at 1-13. So that may be a road game, but I'm hoping that scouting report is wrong on them. You see it for us, 10-4 at home, 2-7 away. That Michigan game may have been the best road win we've had. And then for the rest of college basketball, if you look at the top 25, we got Arizona, Villanova, Michigan State, in the top 3 there, Kentucky, Kansas. A lot of teams that we've seen for a while. Purdue's maybe a surprise. I don't know if I've noticed them in this playthrough. Northern Iowa, they're in there. Stony Brook is in there. That's weird to see. And then on the bubble watch, I just can't imagine we're going to be anywhere near that. Yeah, I mean, we're not really in line for making the tournament, but maybe we're, if we have a good finish, maybe we'll make one of those postseason tournaments. So I was going to take a look at the OVC because I'm curious just to see how things are going there. And we'll take a look at the standings for them. Whoops, it reverted back to us. So, yeah, Southeast Missouri, Tennessee Tech, who the last season I was in with Austin Peay, they made the tournament. Those are the 2 best teams, it looks like. And Belmont, way down here with Austin Peay. Austin Peay 6-17 overall. So they really took a dive after I left. And, I know that there's some guys here like McMillian, Jensen leading scorer for him. Ike King, a guy I recruited, he's not really doing all that well. Travis Hart, I think I recruited him as well. Not doing all that great either. So this team's struggling. Mallet, looks like he might be starting at center for him. He was a guy I recruited and had some hopes for, but he didn't do too well. Man, really weird. McMillian having a pretty decent season, but I'm not seeing too much from this team. They're struggling. Harriman was another recruit that they've redshirted. Or no, I redshirted, I think. And they redshirted Morton, who was a guy I recruited. He looks terrible. So, I didn't leave him in that great of a spot, apparently. But let's go back to Penn State. Try to get some more games in here. And a trick here, I know, if you just hit P, it'll let you find it a little bit easier. So we're going to be playing Michigan now at home, I believe. They're probably going to be looking for some revenge. So this may not, and they need this one too for their tournament hopes, and we lose. And we have another team incident, and I have a feeling it's the same players. It's probably A.D. Lee and Robinson. Lee just not happy with the fact that he's not starting, and those guys, they're in similar spots. I think Lee has the better. We'll take a look at it real quick. He has the better. Yeah, he's mouthing off. So let's take a look at the score, and then I'll address that. So, Michigan, how do we do? Not really even close. 82-71. Robinson was really struggling in this game, and you look at his profile, the relationship's pretty bad at this point. Sandin came through with 5 rebounds, 13 points. He's looked good in losses, which is unfortunate. Jones still getting more time, more play time. Coach relationship's still bad. I guess he thinks he should be the starter, and that's not possible at this point. So I'm going to have to talk to A.D. Lee again for his attitude. And so what you do, you hit contact player. If you go harsh, I'm just going to say he's having problems. Yeah, his monitor dropping rate. I'm going to say, your attitude has been bad. So the first one was a minor drop. The second one was a better improvement anyway. I'm not going to change the depth chart based on that. I'm just going to let it go. We got what is this? 5 games left now. I don't want to change it just based on some attitude problems. I know, if this was like top star, I would probably be a little bit more aggressive, might even bench the guy. But this is a big game here. Ohio State on the road, and this is one of those few matchups where, it should be, if not to our advantage, at least close. I think the scouting report may have had Ohio State winning. Probably because they're at home, but they got some advantages at shooting guard and small forward and center. But I'm hopeful we can pull out a win here. We need it. If not, we're going to be a game below 500, and we are. So we're 12-13 now, in trouble to make that 15 game target or 15 win target with 4 games left. So I think even though we had that big win against Michigan, it may not going to be happening. I guess you could count a tournament win if we managed to beat somebody in the Big Ten tournament. But they beat us easily, 77-69. Morris, man, he has been really just anemic scoring-wise down the stretch. What is that? That's 2 games here where he's had just 1 point. And he's no longer injured for what it for what it means. And this guy's relationship keeps going down. His personality's not that good anyway. He's got good work ethic. I wonder if I can contact him and say your playing style. Nah, I don't want to do that right now. So outside of him, not a whole lot. It's a Pepper and D'Elia. I mean, they had some good games there, scoring wise. Sandin, he was handled pretty easily. Clark, center off the bench, got more play time in this one, probably for foul trouble. Yeah, Sandin had 4. So I am going to adjust it just a little bit. I'm going to give Jones a little bit more playtime at power forward, and what I'm going to do is let him finish the game, and see. That gives him 18 minutes apiece. We'll see what that does. I don't think it's going to improve his rating or his attitude right now, but hopefully more playtime will improve his ratings for next season, because we're not going to really do much the rest of the season. I mean, I'm not tossing it, but it's going to be tough for us, I think, right now. So we don't have a game here, so we can go ahead and send that one. 14 wins, that wouldn't be too bad either, but I was really hoping to get to that 15 win mark. Since I've been playing this game 3 seasons with Austin Peay, I don't think I've had a losing season, so that would be disappointing. That would be disappointing if we wind up having a losing record here. And I think we got some tough matchups too. Just thinking, I would have to look back at the dashboard to see our schedule, but I think we got some ranked opponents coming up. So look at the inbox, see what we got going on. And, well, it does this little thing there where it goes to the... Okay, so Illinois. Man, they're way ranked over us, man. How did we get to be so bad? Was that right? Did I read that one right? Let me double check. Yeah, they're saying 74 to 26. I gotta assume Wisconsin is rated or scouted to win this one easily. I want to look at the dashboard real quick. See how some of these attitudes are doing. So we got Robinson still where he was, even though A.D. Lee has been giving him some trouble. A.D. Lee's not that bad relationship-wise, even though he's mouthing off a lot. And then Isaac Jones still holding there at 16 with the coach relationship. Let's go back and send another game out. No game here either, so we've got a gap in games here. I'm assuming it's going to be either the next day or in a couple days here we'll have another game. New Mexico State up to 19 wins. I just saw they're looking pretty decent. Connecticut, a team that we beat, one of our early wins that made me start feeling pretty confident with the team. So now we got Rutgers at home. Surely we can pull this one out. This is our last, probably best chance to win another game. And we do 13-13. And we got 3 games left. I don't see us winning those 3 out to finish 500 in the conference, but at this point I'm kind of just happy we got another win. We were playing pretty poorly. So 82-59, good overall win against the team we should have been beaten though. I mean, we held them 31% shooting for them, so we did good there. We look good shooting. A lot of 3-pointers. That's something that right now, until we get a better center, our shooting outside's got to be good. Robinson had a good game here, 18 points. Sandin was really ineffective. 20 minutes, just a couple rebounds, 2 points. Pepper, 7 assists. And then off the bench, Clark looked good. Jones didn't look too bad. 7 points, 3 rebounds. So pretty good bench play there overall. I'm not seeing any negatives from the bench, so that's good. So I'm going to try to finish out these last 3 games. It's a little bit easier when you're simming out. I mean, you're not going to have as much control in game, but you're going to be able to go through a season pretty quick. And we've got Indiana now. Indiana already 22 wins. We're on the road. Man, and we got Wisconsin, I think, after them. So this one, I just don't see it happening. And it doesn't. And we have another team incident. If it's Lee mouthing off, I think I'm just gonna have to suspend him for the rest of the season. Even though that would take a big hit. So 88-80. I mean, we were respectable. Looks like Robinson again. You know, I can't afford to make this guy unhappy. At this point, he may be my leading scorer on the team. Sandin, a decent game. I mean, when we win, he's terrible. When we lose, he's also terrible. But a few of these games where we've lost, he's been one of our better players. Off the bench, Jones, 7 points again. But man, why is the relationship going down? I don't understand that. Lee, he's not getting a whole lot of play time off the bench. That may be I think I'm just gonna have to suspend this guy. I mean, his relationship is not that bad. So if I contact him and say your attitude, I'm just gonna suspending him, and it's gonna be a major drop. But what are you gonna do? I'm hoping that that matters some, and then Lee suspended. So I've got small forward Perry. Robinson's getting 26. Perry 4 and Douglas 10. So that makes up for it. It looks like. All right, so let's go back to the games. Only 2 left. 2 games left this season. And I'm really not too disappointed with this record. Based on the team that I took over, I think they were 9-23 last year or something like that. Well, that maybe doesn't sound right, but they were really bad. I think they had 3 wins in conference last year. So it hasn't been a complete disaster, but it's been bad enough. So, and it may be that Lee doesn't even really miss but 1 game based on when I suspended him. We'll have to see. All right, so yeah, 4 more days, and we've got Wisconsin, Illinois. So 15 wins is not going to happen. Not in the regular season, anyway. Tulsa, as a team, I think we lost to earlier in the year. They're up to 20 wins. So now here we go, Wisconsin. They're up to 20 wins already. We had a big win against them earlier in the year, but we were home. So we got to fit it. I figured we'd have to fix this roster thing here. So let's see. What can we do? I think I had the same problem last year. I suspended a guy, and it took me forever to figure out what I needed to do. So I'm just going to let the AI... No, that's not right. I'm going to restore it. Crap. And it's put... did what I was hoping it wouldn't do. So where have we got time? So power forward, we got Jones here with 14 minutes, Morris with 22 minutes. So that's 36. And then Jennings with some time there. Shooting guard, 22, 26, 34, 40, so that's fine. Small forward, we got 26, 36, 4, so that's fine. This is a tough one to figure out. I think I had the same problem last year, and I really wish I remembered what happened. I guess whatever I did fixed it. We lost, so that's going to give us 15 losses, and not a big surprise. They beat us 65-57, low scoring game. We weren't too bad defensively. Morris had one of his best games, so maybe he's getting hot here at the end because he's about to go away, and then Jones off the bench. He's not really giving me a whole lot. I just got to hope that this time I'm giving him is going to improve his ratings. So that leaves us with the final game of the regular season. And it's going to be against Illinois at home. I wouldn't say that's a bad way to finish. They haven't had a great season. I'm pretty sure the scouting report has them with the advantage. Well, I take it back, man. They looks like they really came on strong second half. So I'm not really going to expect too much here. It's a really possibility that we're going to lose. No, we did. Great way to end it. 14-15, 8-12 in the conference. And so we have a good showing in the conference, some good matchups. We might make it to 15 wins, but this is hopefully they're happy with this because that's like I say, big turnaround for this team. 92-83. Looks like once again great shooting, well over 50%. A lot of free throws, so they got in foul trouble. Looks like one guy fouled out for them. Morris, another good game. Pepper, a great game. 13 for 13 from the free throw line, but 6 assists, 20 points. He was the player of the game. And I think that makes him player of the game 3 times this year, so that's pretty good. Finishes 10 plus points, 5 assists. I think I am going to have some dilemma next year with the guards because if that transfer that's coming in, if he is as good as his ratings, he should be the starter, but I don't want to lose Pepper either. He's had a good season. D'Elia, again, as a shooting guard, he's rated just a little bit better than Pepper, and he's probably the team scoring leader for the year. Sandin, I don't know what you can say about him. Plus minus wasn't bad. Jones didn't get a lot of play time here, but he scored 8 points, I think, which is tied for his season high. He's still upset. He's going even further down. So I don't know what that's about. He could be a guy who leaves next year. I'm kind of thinking that's the way that one's going to go. But let's go through the rest of the week. And we'll see if they give us some tournament matchups. If that's favorable. I mean, like I say, we might have a chance at that 15 wins. But I don't see us getting any postseason play this year. I think unless we get maybe a couple wins in the tournament, maybe that'll outside NIT chance or one of those other postseason tournaments. But let's see. So we got players we have none declaring for the draft, so that's good. And we're going to be playing Iowa. Man, that's a tough matchup. So looking at the final standings for the regular season, Indiana, Maryland tied with Michigan State. So those three teams, Maryland came on strong, 6 wins in a row. Wisconsin, Purdue, they look good. Illinois, they did have a good season there towards the end, 8 of 10. Minnesota struggled. Iowa, 10 and 10 in the conference. They've lost 3 in a row. It could be a worse matchup, but we're going to have our work cut out for us. I think this year against Iowa, let's see how we did if we played them. So we lost 67-78 on the road and did not play them at home. I'm thinking that that'll be a pretty easy win for them, but you never know. What I'll do is I will, in the episode here and the next episode, we'll go through this tournament and get in, hopefully into the Final Four tournament and just finish it out. But I can't be too upset with that start. I don't know what you guys would think, but I think it's better than it could have been. This team's just really sporadic. I think what I'll do now with the season over, I'll really get deep diving a little bit into the stats and seeing where the points are coming from and how the team's playing and shooting, and see if I need to adjust anything strategy wise, and then move ahead into next season. But as always, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoy this series still. I'd like to give it maybe another couple seasons with Penn State and get them into a tournament run maybe before I end it. And hopefully you'll stay with me for that. But as always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next episode.